Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in once in a while. If you are new, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much, as I fix myself here, for pressing play and giving my channel a try. I hope you like what you see and hit like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And if you're a returning friend, as always, thank you ever so much for being here and letting me talk about stitching and joining me on this stitching journey. It's Friday morning, and I am taping a little bit earlier because Megan is heading back to school later this morning. So obviously I want to get this done before all of that. You know, you say you're going to leave at a certain time and then that doesn't always happen. So we want to get it done. I actually had a heavier sweatshirt on, a heavier top on, and I realized that it is a bit warm here today. It's very rainy and dreary and cloudy, but because I have these windows right here, I didn't put on the overhead lights. I think it'll be fine. We are going to get cold weather coming in this weekend, so I'll be pulling out those heavy sweatshirts again. But for now, I went with a little bit lighter top. So I have a lot to talk to you about today. I have 11 total projects that I worked on. One is a start and one is a finish. I readjusted my 25/7, and I'll talk about that when I get to it. And a lot of what I chose this week was chosen by Bringo. And so Bringo is a pop-up challenge from the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge Facebook group. And I will put the information down below if you would like to check it out. Bringo is just a 1-month event. I think they do something similar in the fall. I don't know. This is my first year being a part of the group. And then they do have monthly acrostics and themes and all of that good stuff. And while it's called Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge, they encourage you to not only explore your magazines, but explore all of your projects. So this week, actually, there are no magazine projects. For the prompts that specifically called for a magazine, I did use one, but otherwise I use this as a chance for me to really put project and X's into a lot of my pieces. But I did want to explain that because I will be referencing Bringo at different times and projects that I wouldn't necessarily have picked up if it wasn't for Bringo. And this is where I am so far. This is through day 12. I haven't stitched on today's prompt is down here. It is Winter Quaker, so you're going to see that again next week. There are different projects that are on there multiple times, so they'll get extra work. So I do not have a bingo yet. I have 3 potentials. I won't be getting one today because that's where it will be. So when I finish the challenge for the day, I stamp a snowflake on there. So the goal is to get a board of snowflakes. And I'd rather see the snowflakes here than out the window. So I'm happy with that there. Yeah, so there was one more thing I think I wanted to tell you about Bringo. And, you know, it's one of those things, it was in the back of my mind. And I said, okay, when I finish saying that, I'll say this next thing. And then, whoop, it's gone. So if it comes back, I'll tell you. Okay, so that's that. Let's get started with the project so that we can give all of them their fair share. So the first one, ironically enough, is Winter Quaker. This is what it looks like. Again, you'll see this next week, and it generally, how you see my projects, and that's why starts and finishes are all mixed in together, is I keep track of what I stitch in the course of a week. And so I look at that calendar and I kind of will choose the projects in the day that they got their first set of stitches. So Winter Quaker, I stitched on multiple times last week, but the first time would have been the first one since the last video. So that's just why it's in that row. So next week, it'll probably be first again because it's been called from my Bringo board. So I'll probably do those stitches after sometime this afternoon, just so that I can keep up with the challenge. So this is what it is. This is a Jardin Prive pattern. It is a set of 4, you see down there, that have now all been released, 4 seasonal ones. And as a reminder, if you are new, I am stitching all 4 of them using DMC 823, but 4 different bright fabrics. And I designate bright because there's another set of 4 that I'm going to do. I'm going to stitch them in the same shades, but more pastels and muted tones. And I'm going to use this, I won't use 823. I'll use a different floss, but I'll do it probably for all 4 of them again. So I kind of just like that kind of idea and project, because again, that one will be a monochromatic piece. The actual charted ones are not monochromatic, but I am going to make them so. But for now, let's talk about this guy. There it is. And it's probably not quite as bright as Dive In from Bestitchme. Remember the piece I did with my, the sunflower Thanksgiving sunflower. That's what it's called. But it's up there. This is an 18 count Sky from Atomic Ranch. And it's the first time I've stitched with their Aida, and it's lovely. I'm really, really enjoying this. I had received this piece as a gift from a stitchy friend when we did an ornament exchange, and I am thrilled with it. I'm just so excited that I was gifted this, and now I have a new hand dyer to try doing some more fabric from. And this is 18 count, remember. I don't know what it would look on any other counts. But that's where I am so far. So remember, it's 823 DMC, so it's a deep navy. And this got a couple different stitching sessions, so it definitely got some work done. All of this, this tree is not quite done. I'm waiting till I have a little bit of thread left, and I'll just finish it off with that. And I keep finishing the threads elsewhere. I'm not sure if he was done. I think I might have finished him and all of that. And then all of this segment right here was all done as well. So this will get some more stitching time again today. I think the call today was prompt 10, which I believe is your favorite whip, your work in progress. And what's funny is at the time when I made the board, this was probably my favorite. If you were to ask me now, Black Vintage Sampler might be, but I still really enjoy this one, so it's not a hardship to have to stitch on it. But that'll be today's call. So that's where it is. I love these. I really do. And I'm so excited to get all 4 of them done and scrapbooked, and it'll be so much fun, I think, flipping through them. And I will work on them within their season. So this will go until the end of winter, if it makes it. I mean, if I can give this good stitching time, it should be fine. And then I finished spring, so I think I would probably just go back to the summer one potentially and get it moving if I want to. Autumn hasn't been started at all, so that one will need its full stitching time. All right, so the ever-present question of where to put these when I'm done talking about them. I'll try right there. I was asked if I have a craft room tour, and I don't have one yet. I have bits and pieces. I explained my storage here. I did talk about how I made my craft table from IKEA pieces, and I did a before video of the mess. There's less mess, but it's not set yet. Once lacrosse season starts, I'll be heading up to Pennsylvania, and there is an IKEA up there. Fingers crossed they have what I need in stock. I can get Mo to put it all together, and then hopefully we will be closer to a craft room tour. I promise when it is all set and organized, I will give one, and I will do a video of that. All right, next, my finish. I finished Barbara Anna's Sailing Dreams. This was such a fun stitch. My very first Barbara Anna, and I enjoyed every single stitch of it. Now, what I didn't do, I kept all the colors the same. I have way different fabric if you're new, but the only thing I didn't do was around these fishes, these fish, there's these kind of like bubbles. That color I did do, for example, around here, there's like little sprays of extra stitches. I did that, but because of my fabric choice, the bubbles would have really just kind of blended in and you wouldn't have seen them. So I didn't feel like it added to the, overall look of it. And the other thing that I'm not going to redo it, but if I knew what I know now, is they're back stitched attached with a kind of yellowish thread floss. On this fabric, you can't really tell that. It's fine. I mean, Barbara Anna is supposed to be whimsy, so while they could technically supposed to be hanging from that, if they're not, it doesn't really matter. But the back stitch is there. It's just difficult to see. So that's what it looks like. Wow. Wow. So this is an 18 count Night Fever from Fortnight Fabrics. And I know it's not everybody's gig. Sometimes the stuff I choose is a little bit too bright. I get it, but I just love exploring and accentuating color as much as I possibly can. And my goal with this one was not to worry about some of the accessories, but I really wanted her to be the focal point. So your eye goes right to her, I think, first. And then you kind of notice all of the little bits and pieces around her. And I really like this. I really, really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. So hopefully you will see more Barbara Annas in the future. I'm trying to think. I think I do have one or two. And I do get Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher. And I know she has pieces in there. So that's also a good resource. So super exciting. And more Barbara Anna in my future. Alrighty. And I know several of you enjoy stitching her as well. So I enjoy seeing all the other stitching projects of hers as well. This is my full coverage of the week. I did finish my 10-day rotation on Tuesday. So I did start a new piece on Wednesday. But because I have so many projects, I'm just going to wait and show that to you next week. So you'll only see it once. And that'll be the end of its rotation, probably, unless I had some days where I didn't stitch on it. So we're going to talk about Hidden Harbor. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Andy Russell. And that's what it looks like. I love the colors in this one. It's pretty much every color of the rainbow is there somewhere or other. And so you get a chance to do everything. And you know that I don't stick per page or per section. I kind of just go all over the place. So let me show you. I don't have it all the way to the edge yet, but let me show you what I have so far. So that's what it looks like so far. I can't see a thing, but yep. And I don't think I did anything over here. No, I'm almost sure I didn't. So I'm going to fold it for a second here. All right. And I really did focus on two sections. Let's fold this for a second. I focused on some of this. So I do have more blue. And then I also focused over here on this area, a lot of the yellows, and then I started to come into the purples. So what I did this week when I was doing the stitching of this was I would pick a color, and sometimes I'd pick a symbol if it was a piece of confetti. So you can see I've started to fill in a little bit more of that. There's still some here mixed in among, because it doesn't have other stitches around there. So I just have to kind of pick a bunch of those symbols and one day just do them. But then in some of these areas, it's not a block of color, but you can move around and get 2-3 strands of a certain color done in those areas. And so that's what I was really concentrating on doing. And this way I was able to fill in. I filled in a lot more of this yellow. I did do much more of this. And then, you know, there's a lot of different blues. So I just decided one day I wanted to do blue. A couple days I wanted to do blue. So I just pick a color and I go for it. There's really no rhyme or reason. I'm not worried about finishing squares. I'm not worried about finishing pages. I'm not even really worried about cross country. It's just whatever floats my boat that day, to be honest with you. 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1 full cross. That's how all my full coverages are. I've never really tried it any other way. And I love my 18 count. So I just keep going with that. Obviously, if there was something that was huge and I wanted to make it smaller, I might have to explore a higher count, but I really prefer 2 strands over the 1. So that would have to be a real conscious effort to do that. So this right now is done with its rotation. I've given it 10 days. So this will now go away and ready for another time to pick it up. This week I was talking about maybe trying some extra days of throwing in some other full coverages. I didn't. I concentrated on this for its 10 days when it was my full coverage time of the day. And then I picked up my next one Wednesday. So it's gotten 2 days. And because I was pretty quick with my 25/7 and my Bringo pieces, that got in 2 days almost 500 stitches. So I was happy with that. Okay, now This is one you will see a few more times this month because it is on my Bringo board multiple times. And I'm trying to think here what prompt this might have been for at this point. I don't remember. The way I have this listed, I have one area with just the number, another area with just the name, but I know that this would have been picked up because of Bringo. And it is January Snowdrop from Cottage Garden Samplings. I think I was trying to do 3 different companies in one name. I really, really like these. It's a 12-piece series. Every month has a flower and some sort of saying, some words, and I really like their words. This month is Snowflakes or Kisses from Heaven. And I have to remember that when it's really snowing, right? That's what I have. This is done on an 18-count Winter Blues from Bestitchme. And I really like it because it does, it kind of blows it out when I go too close. That shows the white nicely. And obviously the flowers in this are white. In fact, I prefer it on the blue because I think you can see the white a little bit better. So I really wanted them to have their time to shine in the spotlight because that's the flower this month. I did change, 580 was the charted green for the borders and the stems, and I changed it to 937. The 580 was a bit too yellowy on this fabric. It probably would have been fine on a neutral, but against the blue, it was coming up a little too yellowy. So I did go with that change. But otherwise, so far, everything is as charted. I debated because these corner flowers are more pinky than red, but I decided that I liked that pink with the white, and then some of the words will be more red. So I didn't want the words to blend in with that. So that's how I chose that instead. You will see these on a monthly basis because my plan for 2023 is to stitch on whatever month it is that month's piece. I am not putting a goal of finishing it that month on myself. It's just more to stitch it during the month. If it gets finished, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, next. This is definitely a Bringo start, and I'm pretty sure this one was, let's see here. I don't know if it was Reminds You of Your Childhood. It might have been, and it might have been last Friday, and so I hadn't done it yet. And I chose this one because, you know, I think about Christmas stores and the department stores and visiting Santa and all that, and I just really love this whole piece. Now, I did change it, so even though I love it, I did make changes to it. I am only making it a 2-story building. I really honestly felt after I had done the roof that if I did not do something, I probably would never have finished it. And for me, cutting out that floor was a game changer. It really reinvigorated the stitching, the enjoyment of stitching this for me, as opposed to just all the monotony of doing all of the structures and everything. And I am getting ready to hit rooms. I'm so excited about that. So that's what it looks like. Little House Needleworks. And here it is. This is done on an 18-count Artemis from Bestitchme. So I did keep it kind of neutral. They did more of a beigey neutral there, at least in the picture. Although I want to say, if you looked at the called for, I'm not sure it was a kind of like that beigey neutral. I don't know if that's the way the camera picked it up. But that's what I have. The structure is done. So there's 2 little stitches that I didn't do. When I was doing this, I assumed one color finished sooner than it did. So there are 2 stray stitches of the structure. Not complete, but otherwise it's done. And then I know for a fact that I want to stitch this center with the clock. So I did a very, very, very small start of that. So that'll be the first room I do. And I didn't finish some of the lanterns yet because they had in their called for, it was a mixture of, I don't know if it was DMC and a Versois, or if it was a, so there's a few DMC colors, there's a few variegated flosses. I'm doing it all in the DMC alternatives. And then, you know, one of them was a mixture. And so I don't have the sparkly stuff, but what I do have is E677. I have two of these. I have one that's a little bit golder, and then this one is more of a, what's the term? It's not the bright gold. It's the, oh, I can see it on the tip of my head. I can't remember, but it's definitely more of a muted gold. And I thought, given the colors of this project, that would be better. I haven't made the decision. In some cases where it's called for, what I might do is I would do one strand of this, one strand of whatever the DMC called for is, and do it that way. I think for like the actual flames, there's a teeny tiny flame in each of the lanterns, and then I don't know about the chandeliers. Those I might just do this by itself just to get an extra sparkle. We'll see. So I think, given the colors in this project and given the fabric, I think that's what I'm going to go with. But I didn't want to start anything with the sparkle yet until I made a decision. So I figured the greenery up top here would be fine. And then I don't know what other window fronts I'm going to do. I am going to do the two chandeliers, but I'm not necessarily going to do what's underneath it. I might pick and choose from other pieces. I haven't decided yet. So that's still all kind of up in the air. But I'm excited now that I have something with a sparkle. And then on either side of the word Kringles, there's actually charted snowflakes, which in the picture you can't even really see, to be honest with you. And I think that color, it might be just the ecru that they have for it. I might do something sparkly there instead for the snowflakes, just so you can see them. Because I don't know how well they would show on the fabric. Oops, I'm showing you the back. See, there's my back. Not too bad, I think. Yeah, not too bad. But yeah, I think I want to go through what I have for sparkle. The thing is, the white etoile is more kind of grayish, because I would have used etoile. I like using etoile, but I'm not sure. I'll have to pull it out and I'll have to see what it looks like. Maybe with this fabric and these colors, it would look okay. I'm not 100% sure on that one. So I'll kind of play with that. That might be one of the last things I do, which at that point, it would be pretty easy. So I have plenty of time before I get to that. But I am super excited to get the structure done and now to really start getting into the rooms a little bit. I'm still not putting the pressure on getting it done by this Christmas on myself. If it gets done, great, but I am not going to worry about whether or not it is done. Okay, next. This one is also, let's see here. What was day 7? Number 14. Yes, this one was part of Bringo. This one most definitely probably won't get done this Christmas. There's no reason why I couldn't, but I just don't think it'll be in my priority list as I'm going through. This one was a stretch for me. So the prompt was a whip or a new start that will be a gift. Now, honestly, except for sending out things like trading cards, which really aren't a gift because we're trading, right? Doing ornaments sometimes I do as a gift, but really there's not much else that I do as a gift because there's really nobody in my everyday circle that really would want or appreciate something like that. So I asked in the group, and you know, there was a couple different choices. Obviously the finish would be a gift to myself. So if nothing else, there was that. But then also Santa is delivering gifts. So I took the prompt along that route as well, that there will be gifts for somebody. Plus it gave me a chance to pick this one up. This is Christmas Eve from the Prairie Schooler. And I only have the left side done. That's what I have done so far. This is an 18 count Chinchilla from Mystic Fabrics. And I really, really like it. I was stumped for a color, and I did have something that was more like a bluish, and it was an opal, and the colors weren't working on it. And I know somebody had sent me a picture of one that they had seen done in more of a gray, and it really looked lovely. So when this, I think this was a fabric of the month, to be honest with you. Yeah, fabric of the month from Mystic Fabrics. So when I saw this, I thought, ooh, this might work nicely, and it does. And given the modeling, you know, there'll be kind of like a little, although, I mean, it's not going to actually very much. I think this is it's a longer one, not a tall one. I'm almost at there's a bunch of snow here and then the border, so that's probably only as far as it's going to go. I just didn't cut it down. I did change Santa's face. I don't have the notes. I don't have the notes here, what it is. If you wanted to know, I know I have it written down somewhere. I changed his face to be not quite as mauve-y as what they called for, or pink, I can't remember. And then the other thing that I am changing, if you'll notice down here in the words, so there's words that say Noel, Merry Christmas, peace, love. Oh, and those, joy, yeah. I could have just done snow, but I thought, oh, it'd be kind of cute that way. But when I first started the Noel one, I didn't like the color of floss called for. So I looked at the one that Merry Christmas is in, and it's a very, very slight, almost like a green, and you probably won't, it won't stick out as you're trying to read it, but that's okay. I think I'm going to do all the words, and you can see I've done N and O of Noel. It's just going to be kind of the bottom border. So I don't necessarily need the words to pop out, but I think I'm just going to have them that one kind of very light green shade and just have it continuity all the way across. So that is the other change I've made. Otherwise, I am doing it as charted, as far as I know for now. If anything else changes, I'll let you know. So that's where it is. I don't think this is on my Bringo board. No, I'm looking at the ones that are not highlighted that I haven't gotten called for yet. It is not on the Bringo board again, so it probably may not see any more time this January, but I'm sure it'll come out this year at different times when I'm in the mood to do something Christmassy. So again, not worried about it for this Christmas, but you know, whenever. All right, next is my 25/7 piece. So 25/7 is a Facebook group started by Melody Watkins. Her Flosstube is the Soulful Stitcher. So I always put all that information down below if you're interested in checking out the Facebook page or her Flosstube. And it's basically to just pick something, whether it's the same or different every day. It's really up to you, to stitch on for 25 minutes, 7 days a week. And I've really enjoyed it. I have to say, sometimes it doesn't work for everybody, but for me, I just take a little chunk of the day of my stitching time and I just get some work in on a certain project. And what I've been doing is I've been working on the project until it was finished. Now I did take a pivot because the previous 25/7 was Forest from Satsuma Street, but Forest is on my Bringo board, and I was worried that it would be like the last number called and then I'd have it finished because it's getting close to a finish. So I put that aside until it's called for Bringo. It'll get its Bringo day. And then when I finish this one, I'll probably go back to that one. But I'm enjoying this, so I'm glad I switched up. This is Spring Birds from Country Cottage Needleworks. It is a lot of fun with the different bright colors. The more and more I stitch on it though, I am thinking, so I have the top border, well, most of the top border, and I've stitched halfway through. See the white, there's kind of white blocks there. They're kind of hard to see. They're definitely hard to see on my fabric. I'll show you in a minute. I'm thinking, okay, in this, that's like a border, and this is, we'll pretend it's kind of like clouds up kind of on top. I don't feel the need to do the bottom. I don't feel the need to repeat it. So I'm not stitching that again, especially because the white, it's hard to see anyway. So what's the point, right? So that's what it's going to be. And it'll have a top border, but then the grass will be the bottom. And I think one line of grass will be fine. I don't think I need to add any extra to it. So that will be a change you'll see later on, because I think stitching that bottom part would take the joy out of it for me. So that's what it looks like. But do you see, even in person, sometimes we'll say on the camera you can't really see the whatever color. Even in person, it's really hard to see. This is a pretty blue, but white this wouldn't be good for winter stitching if you have white, because it doesn't show up really clearly. This is an 18 count Spacious Skies from Color and Cotton, and I got a lot accomplished, except for the little bit of the bottom stem here. This whole flower is done. I've got except for one row here. This birdhouse is done. I started in on this bird. I filled in up there. And then this, so all of the pieces actually got extra. I have only a little bit more border left, so it probably goes till about where you see the bend. That'll be easy to do. The white will be a little bit of a slog, so I'll have to pick some days at some point where I do one strand of the white and then go do some more color just to get that part done. But after this pink birdhouse, I have another house with a bird and a flower, and then that's it. So this is definitely coming along nicely. The 25 minutes a day, I've been seeing good progress on this. So I'm really happy that I chose to put this one as my 25/7. What I did, when I did my project parade, I had my notes of all my pieces. And then afterwards, I kind of looked it over and I designated, I think it's 12 or 13 pieces that they will be finished this year. If the year starts getting to 2/3 in and they haven't gotten work, I'm really going to pull them out. And they're smaller pieces, which is fine because I'll start smaller pieces this year. It's not like I'm not going to keep starting things. The numbers don't bother me, but it's just fun to get some finishes once in a while, right? So this has definitely been designated as one that there's no reason why it couldn't be a finish this year. So I don't necessarily think I will pick my 25/7 from those, just those, but I will give those a look when I finish one and pick another 25/7. But Forest is also one of those that is on the list to be finished this year. There's no reason. I have a tree and a half, right? So it could easily get done. Okay, next. So this one could easily at this point be my favorite project right now. The words today are definitely getting to me. And the prompt here was a whip or a new start with a bird. And we have an owl up there. So that's what made me pull this out. And I did, this probably got on my Bringo board about 3 times, 4 times. I'm not 100% sure on that. So it is on, if I'm looking one more time, it's not been highlighted. So it will be at least once come out again this, I'm gonna fold it over because there's not much done yet. At least once more this month, but you know what, I won't because then it might block some. But I could see pulling this out if I just want some monochromatic stitching. I find when I am doing things like Zoom calls, I really enjoy the monochromatic pieces because then I don't have to worry about changing colors. And then it's just, you know, finding things to do on the piece and count. So I have a couple, I'm hoping to join a couple of Zoom calls in the next week. And so I should potentially get some progress on this one. Winter Quaker would be my other potential, but I think I would switch between the two because I enjoy both of them. So this probably will get some more time. This is an 18 count Rainy Day is the name of it from Bestitchme. And this is almost done. That was a big part of my focus. You know, a couple little elements. And then I keep doing some border so that I don't have border left. I am not one of those that stitches the whole border and then goes to the inside. I stitch border, I stitch part. I kind of count everything off to make sure everything is on target. And so you will see the border continue to grow as I work on the inside pieces. I don't know if I'm going to go across or work my way down. I wouldn't go all the way down one side. I know that's not, my brain wouldn't do that. At some point I will go to the other side and then completely work my way down. But I'm not sure which. It kind of depends. If I look at a certain type of motif, I'm like, what do I want to stitch? And that pretty much dictates if I go across or if I go down. I love it. I am so happy that I kept looking and looking at fabrics because this one definitely gives the feel and vibe that I was looking for. So I'm pretty sure you'll see that again next week, but I'm not going to make any promises. Well, if it gets called, you'll definitely see it again. All right, my start. And this had nothing to do with Bringo at all. I just felt like starting it. And actually, you know what? I said to myself one day, I'm like, I wasn't planning on starting it. I said, I want to find the fabric for it because I hadn't decided on fabric yet. And let me make sure I'm showing you the right. It's the gnomes, the winter gnomes. And I have chosen, I like all three of these. And that's not always the case with them. So I may end up stitching all three. Not in a row, because that would be a lot, but at some point. I started with this one. Is the first one I'm stitching. I'm pretty sure. I had to look again, because I looked at all of them and I said, oh, they're all so pretty. But I'm pretty sure that's the one I started with. Right now with the hat is where I am. So, you know, you can't see a lot, but looking at the actual design, yeah, that must be the one. But I threw out I'm not doing this. Do you see the beige there? I'm not stitching that. Kind of the brownish beige. I threw the flosses onto, I couldn't decide what fabrics, you know, if I wanted something more bluish, but there was a lot of blue, and what to do if I wanted something along the kind of the beigey lines. And then I just happened to turn, and this had not been folded up yet. So I put my fabrics on, you know, those comic book boards. And I said, an opal, that would make, you know, I'm not doing them all in opal, but winter and sparkly and snowy. And I decided I was going to go with an opal. And this right here, I just happened to have, I was last year in Fortnight Fabrics. One of their clubs was an opal, and I got the smaller piece of it, which this is going to fit it. I'm hoping there's a little bit left, but I'm not sure afterwards if there will be enough to do anything else on this piece. But I love it. This is 18 count Hourglass Nebula from Fortnight Fabrics. And it has kind of that beigey feel. The opal is really nice in person. I don't know if it's showing up on the picture, and I think it's going to be really nice when it's done. The blues go really nice against it, and the blues pretty much are the edging of all the gnome with other colors on the inside. So I think it's really going to be nice because you'll be able to see everything nicely. But I was so excited at my fabric choice that I just had to start it. I couldn't help myself. So I did, and that was that. And I wanted to start it at some point in January, so whether I started this week or I started next week, it doesn't really matter, right? So it got some time, and I'm really happy with it. Now, if anybody does these, do a double check before you cut any fabric, because this one, and I don't know, this is Winter Gnome 2 on the charting. I didn't print off the other ones. I just did this one because I knew this was my first one. When I do these, I usually print off the one I'm stitching, and then the other ones are just in my Dropbox. But when it says the fabric size, it says, or the stitch count 110 wide, which is right, by 112 high, which is not right. I looked at that and I said, these are not squares. And so I pulled out one of my other gnomes that I'm pretty sure I didn't count. I could just count the actual 10 squares, right, in the pattern. I'm pretty sure they meant to put 212. So clearly it would have been, if I had cut it at 112, I would have cut it way too short. So be very careful. I'm sure it was just a typo. I haven't looked at the other ones. So if you've picked up the winter gnomes, make sure you double check the stitch size with the pattern, because I know for a fact this one in mine when I bought it is wrong. Whether or not they've changed it because somebody brought their attention to it, I don't know. But just always. And I took one of my other gnomes and I had cut it. I think the summer one, I've cut the fabric already, and it fits just right in this size. So I said, okay, this will be good to stitch this one with. But it is a note that I did want to make a point of saying, because I don't want anybody to, you know, get partially through. And I mean, your gnome would be a half gnome, and I don't think there's any way you could only stitch part of it, really. So, okay, next. This one was favorite fabric, I think. Stitch on your favorite fabric. Now, Aida is my favorite fabric, and everything's on Aida. So that was a no-brainer. So then I went, well, you'd think I would have picked a blue project, right? And I have a ton of them, but I have a lot of them on different blues. So what I did was I picked a color of fabric that I've used quite a bit in projects that are already finished or on the go. And that is my Honeydew Melon from, oh, let me show you the project first. My Honeydew Melon from To Die For Fabrics is one of my favorite greens, and I really enjoyed stitching with it. So I decided that for want of a better way of doing it, I didn't know how else to pick a favorite fabric. And right now my project on the go with that fabric is Serena Sprout from Autumn Lane Stitchery. So that's what she'll eventually look like. And I'm getting there. But I really, really do like this green. The colors, so many different colors pop. The only color you probably would have trouble with is if you were doing white. White is a little bit not as poppy on this color. You need a little bit darker green if you really wanted white as a focus. Now, if it's just an accessory, like for example around here, it doesn't matter so much. But look at all the other colors. I really love how they pop. And this is, as all my other pieces are, 18 count. And I did a lot of this right here. And what's funny is I did one of these, I did the orange first, and I stitched it and I said, oof, I don't know about that. But then when I stitched the yellow and then the other colors around it, I think it's going to be fine. But I did pretty much all my focus was right about there with that. That's a big element, so it's going to take some time to stitch, and there's 2, 3, 4 different colors in it. So it's going to look so nice when it's completely done with all the different variations of shades of reds and pinks. But yeah, if I had to, blue is my favorite of colors of fabrics, but there's so many shades of blue, and I'm doing so many different ones on different shades that with the green, this is a standby for me. I really like this green, so I figured that's how I'll choose it. So that's how I ended up choosing it. It's tough trying to find your favorites of some of your projects. I mean, it's like picking a favorite child, right? I don't, on any given day, one is more favorable to me than the other. It depends on what's going on, right? So I'm going to be honest about it. And then the last piece I have was a piece that was out of season. And that gave me the perfect time to pull out Midnight Watch from Blackbird Designs. I am stitching this with Sarah's Stitches. Sarah's Stitches. I am sorry, Sarah. I do this every single time, whether or not you have the S or not. I think I do. She'll be linked down below. Just look in the box. She's there. And we are both just doing this section. Neither one of us are doing the alphabet, and neither one of us are doing the border. Again, I wanted to choose part of the pattern. I loved this pattern, and I chose to stitch what drew my eye and what would bring me joy, and that would be this section. I really am not sure I would enjoy doing this border. I don't mind borders per se, but I'm not sure, because I did consider, I didn't want the alphabet. I didn't feel like with this picture, it was doing what it wanted to for me. It's beautiful, but it just wasn't working for me. So I was originally going to rechart and do the border just like this. But then looking at it, I said, I don't know if it really needs the border, especially because I've changed the color up completely of the fabric. And we do have a hashtag. I think it's hashtag BBD Midnight Watch SAL, Sal? I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to look and see. That would mean I'd have to post on Instagram to actually show you the stuff from the hashtag. And every year, I always say, I am going to start the year off, with Instagram and doing it all and everything. And then I don't, because I just don't think about it, to be quite honest with you. When I'm stitching, I'm concentrating more on this than posting things. And so one day I'll just feel like posting, and I will. We'll go from there. But this is what mine looks like. This is an 18 count Bewitched from To Die For Fabrics. And it is a complete departure, but I thought with this moon, I wanted something that would pop. That is the part that's going to draw your eye. I mean, the house is going to be, different colors, and it's going to be cool. But that was the part that sold me on this piece. So that's what I really wanted to highlight. Now, because I did it on this purple, I had to change off one of the colors. And let me see. It was charted. One of the greens was charted as 730, and you couldn't see it. So I'm doing 523 instead. And it's a little bit brighter green, which I think it's already on there, and it works for me. So I think that's what it'll be. And that will come, there's a big piece of that all the way here. So that'll be the whole length on this side, because I'll do all the way up to the bottom of the house. But that moon, and I didn't use a variegated floss, but Blackbird was wonderful because instead of just doing one DMC, if we wanted to have some sort of look to the moon, they gave 2 DMC colors that you would take a strand of each. So that's what I did. So it's a little bit more, I mean, this is obviously a bit more stripy, but I am all about subtle usually anyway. I like something that's there without you noticing it's there. And that's the case with this. There is a fluctuation in color, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to point to it. It's just something that registers into your eye without you realizing it. So I love this. It is on my board one more time. I think it was for like a piece that's stitched, a piece that's a holiday. So you will see it again at some point this month, which is good because, you know, I don't necessarily have a rotation where I have specific holidays put in. I don't care. It doesn't bother me stitching things on a specific holiday off of the season or whatever. But I sometimes just don't think of it, to be honest with you. The light's getting funnier. It's funny. It's kind of brighter, even though it is grayer and grayer. I think it's supposed to, well, I think the sun may come out this afternoon, but I think it's supposed to be rainy this morning. So I did get one piece of Happy Mail, and plans are just to continue my Bringo, continue my 25/7, my full coverage. So I don't necessarily know what I'm going to be stitching on each day because I don't find out until Carolyn calls the number, but I have a general idea. I have all the projects that were put on the Bringo board, and that ends on the 25th, which gives people a chance, if they haven't gotten a chance to do some of the calls, to get it done before the 31st, you know, if you wanted to do prizes. If you don't, it doesn't matter. And so after the 25th, if I keep going, I can then just stitch on whatever I want. Anyway, I got a lovely, and I want to make sure, I had a lovely, lovely card from Alice. Thank you. I love those colors. The blue, and then you got just that little hint of the purple. It reminds me of Lady of the Lake fabric a little bit, actually. That's beautiful. That's going to go up here because I think I'm going to really enjoy looking at that. So thank you. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your note inside. Cards, I love, if you've taken the time to do so, to send me one, please know it is so appreciated. I don't make cards as much anymore, but I was a card maker for years and years and years and years. So I understand the meaning of getting one, and you taking the time to send one. It means a lot to me because that was my business for so long. So it really is something that, if it doesn't, I don't know if I can express it as much, but it really does mean a lot to me. So thank you. And then I did get a fabric of the month, and we'll see with this lighting. I really feel like it's getting darker as we're talking, if it's going to show up or not. If you do not want to see Grace Notes Fabrics, fabric of the month for this month, please look away. I get the 18 count. It's called Pensiero. I can't tell with that, the last letter. I think it's Pensiero, which doesn't really give it away. I'm worried it's not going to show up. There is color there. I know it's tough to see. It is a pastel, and I am thinking I have an idea for this. I'm not 100% sure. When we get to that point, you can look now. I'll talk about it more when I get to when I would want to stitch that project. So that's a possibility at some point that you'll see. And they always send stickers. This reminds me, I know it's not, but it reminds me of the Scooby-Doo van, doesn't it? Kind of those colors and that kind of vibe. So I thought that was cool. I need to find a way to put this in like my stitching journal or something. I love that. That's super cute. All right. I was going to show you my other 2 fabrics from Fabrics by Stephanie that I haven't shown you, but I'm going to wait because literally the lighting is going as we speak, and it just won't give it justice. They're pretty. They're colors, and so I want to give them justice. So I'll do that next week. It's the order that just keeps on giving. Because, you know, I got these ages ago, and for whatever reason, I just haven't been able to show them to you. All right, this is in plastic, but the plastic it's not one of those things that you just close. It's actually tied shut, so I'd have to rip it open. So I'm going to keep it the way it is. I had ordered, you had seen an order from me from 123 Stitch few weeks ago, and 2 items were back ordered. And so those came in. And so this one is, it's a Homespun Elegance. It says annual sampler. So this is the 2022 Come Home. So that's what it looks like. There is a little bit of a glare because it is in the plastic. I thought that was pretty. I love cardinals. Come home to comfort and joy. I thought that was really pretty. So I picked that up. And then the other thing, I was enabled. One of you stitchy friends had reached out to me. You had a project that you were going to stitch on, but you weren't sure about fabric. And you asked my opinion and you showed me a few fabrics and we talked it out a little bit. And I, of course, had to look up the design, and it was part of a little book of designs, and I had to do it. I have never stitched Teresa Kogut. I showed you that before with those little ornaments, and then I went and I got this book. This is the Flurry, a collection of 9 designs by Teresa Kogut. And this was the one that my stitchy friend was asking questions about, and I just loved it so much that I had to pick up the book for that pattern. I thought that was so pretty. And then I can show you because the pattern, there's a few that here that are not here. I can't decide which of these Santas are my favorite, but those are so cute too. I really, really love those. All 9 aren't necessarily ones that I would stitch, but that's okay. I mean, that's fine. That one has a pattern next to the side of it. There's one with like flowers, which is really kind of cool. And they've shown it stitched in 2 different fabrics. See? I'm not the only one that does that. Teresa does that too. And one is a dark and one's a neutral. And I really like the one that's on the fabric color. And so that sold me right there too. So you'll probably see a few of these at some point in my stitching rotation. I just wanted to have it. I have no idea when or if I'd start something, but I loved this flurry. And again, I have not stitched any Teresa Kogut, so I got to get on the ball with that. So that was it for my my shopping. Like I said, I will show you the 2 last fabrics in my birthday order from Fabrics by Stephanie. I'll show you those maybe next week. Hopefully the lighting will be better. If I'd known this, I would have turned on the overhead light, but okay, that's all right. All right, giveaways. I got my act together this week, and I actually do have all the names. So we have two giveaways to choose to pick winners for this week because, you know, my mind was not with me last week. This one is Snowman Kisses, and it is from Primrose Cottage. Super cute. I love those little snowmen. They are so cute. Kind of little squat. And I asked you to say the word snowman. So you got an extra week. If you had missed last week's video, you had an extra week to try to get your name in. Because I didn't, I waited till this morning. So if you had some time this week, put the snowman word in the comment, you did get a chance to get your name in the blue bowl. I figured it was my mess up, so I might as well, right? Okay, so the winner is, who won this? Lorraine Bergstrom. Congratulations, Lorraine. You are the winner. If you could get back to me with your address, I will send this out to you. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I've got the next giveaway in just a little baggie. I'm going to leave them in the baggie, and I'll just swirl around from that as opposed to the blue bowl because I don't want to waste your time while I switch little names. Okay, so this week's giveaway was Quirky Quaker Queen Bee. This might be a choice of a bee stitch for you if you wanted to join Carla for her February stitch along. Carla being crafty. All right, so let me just get them all mixed around in the little baggie here so I make sure it's all fair. All righty, and I pull apart so that okay, who do we have here? All righty, Night Fair. I'm not 100% sure how to say your name, but congratulations, you won. Night Fair, Fear, Fair, I'm not sure. But if you get back to me with your address, I'll send this to you. So congratulations to both of you. If you could get back to me with your address within the next couple weeks, I will get that out. Okay, so let me clean up my mess here. And then this week's giveaway, now I have them in a baggie just for keep them all together. But I don't remember. I think it was when I was shopping at Abby Tot Knot. It might have been Abby's store. I was shopping for the winter balloons for myself. And I ended up, I'll use the back of my Kringle board here. I said, you know, I always like I don't know if it's every month, but one of my giveaways, I like to do periodically like different color themes of flosses. And this month is no different. I thought with February fast approaching that we would do a set of 3 flosses. So one is just in a 12 from DMC, it's C816. One is a classic Colorworks, it's Wild Berries. And this one is a Threadworks 01089. Do they have names? I don't really know. I buy them generally for giveaways for you all, but I really don't know otherwise. But aren't those pretty? I thought they were a nice variety of threads for some February stitches if you so choose, or any time. And because there are 3, all I'm going to ask you to do is to put the number 3 anywhere in your giveaway, in your comment, and I will put your name in the blue bowl, and I will pick a winner. I'm going to put them right back in the plastic so they don't get lost. They're all nice, safe, and sound in here. I will pick a winner next video. As always, please don't say giveaway or free. Please be at least 18. And you don't, I request that you be a subscriber. I'm not checking. It's all on your honor, but it would be lovely if you're a subscriber. I would appreciate it. You do not have to be public. I make that very clear. If you, for whatever reason, you don't do public subscriptions, that is absolutely fine. Do not worry about that. It's just, if you can, I'd appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. And that's it. That's the stuff. So if you are done and need to head on out, or you don't care about the life stuff and all that other stuff, then I hope you have a fantastic, fabulous week, and I will see you next time. Okay, so life stuff. We're just wrapping up for the kids to go back to college. So Megan goes back today, and Connor goes back tomorrow. So it's been a lovely visit, and I'm thrilled that they've been here. It's funny because there's, you know, you're in that in-between time of life where the kids are starting to transition into adulthood, and Mo and I have gotten used to having the house to ourselves. So we love our children dearly, but we are definitely also looking forward to a time when the house is again just us. So it's that kind of that, you know, it's just another transition in life, right? You know, I mean, and they do. I want them to be comfortable in their independence and comfortable with being able to do what they want in their life. So I'm glad that they're, you know, kind of spreading their wings and doing whatever. But you know, there's one hand is I'm going to miss them quite a bit, but on the other, I'm going to also like kind of just Mo and I in our routine again. So it's kind of one of those kind of crazy back and forth with life that just happens, right? So they'll go, and then the house will get a full cleaning because kids are still kids, right? I mean, I know they're adults, but they kind of just do things differently, right? I mean, especially when you're still in college, you know, you still have a little bit of that college mentality versus if they had their own place and came to visit type of thing, you know what I mean? So, but other than that, I'm fingers crossed that I'm going to get on a couple of Zooms in the coming week. I have a few that I'm hoping the schedule works out well. We'll see. Obviously, at any given time, things can change, but that is my goal. They're in the book as plans, so hopefully that works out. Today is Aston Villa Day, so we will be watching. We won't talk about the FA Cup loss. That was last weekend. Well, wasn't happy, but we're hoping for a win this afternoon. So we'll see. Other than that, what else? I'm trying to think of anything. I went to my needlework group yesterday. It was a small group of us, but it was fun. It was enjoyable just to stitch. And I worked on Midnight Watch. So that was the second day in a row because I was filling in the roof, and I thought that would be perfect while you're chatting. Because again, even in person when you're chatting, anything complicated, it would be way beyond me. I would make so many mistakes. But yeah, so it just, you know, just kind of plugging along. There's, you know, you get to be in your 50s and there's this doctor's appointment and that because, you know, you just, you gotta have everything checked, right? Everything's gotta be checked. So I feel like every month there's something else that I gotta fit into the schedule and so on and so forth. So there's just that part of life. But yeah, you know, I'm really feeling for all of you who may be out in the California way. I saw that first set of rains, you know, and all the water, and then I didn't realize there was another batch coming, and then I think there's more coming. And if, you know, you've been evacuated or you are just getting so much, I'm really thinking about you. And the ironic thing is, I heard one of the weather people say, and yet after all this, they'll still be considered in a drought, which has always been amazing to me, because that would happen periodically in New England and stuff, where we would be in a drought and we would get rain and rain and rain for months, and they'd be like, oh no, we're not quite there yet. And I never quite understood that, but the rain is needed, but not so much at once. So I'm thinking about all of you out that way, and hope you are safe. We are turning colder here. I think this weekend it's going to get blustery, but so far no snow in sight. We will see what happens. That's good. With the kids going back, I was always, you know, it's January. You never know what's going to happen. And I don't want them driving in snow of any sort. So I'm always quite happy if the weather is clear, and overnight it's going to drop today. But today it's like in the 50s. So for Megan's drive, even if the roads are wet, they'll just be wet, which is good, not icy. So there's always that, you know, until you get somewhere and you text me that you're there, I'm going to worry about you. So, yeah, so that's really it. I don't know specifically what else besides potential Zoom calls I have in my future week plans. We'll see. I don't necessarily plan on having a start, but I don't rule it out, because look what happened this week with Winter Gnome. You just never know. I am having so much fun with Bringo. I am so happy that I did it. I actually, in Whip Warriors, which is a closed Facebook group, they open it in December. It used to be No New Starts, which, you know, I would never have been a part of, because No New Starts certainly would not be me. There was a 4 or 5 day challenge and a stitch count challenge, and I do count stitches, so it's fine. It works for me. And I got a lot of stitching in. It was a lot of fun. The person, you were to choose the person you were to beat stitching wise in kind of a set of moderator names. Mine wasn't chosen, so it wouldn't have mattered. So it didn't matter. I didn't, but it was just kind of fun, you know, just to get in what I could. And I got in a decent number of stitches. I had some good stitching days. But again, what I like about that is there's a ton of things to do, because they know not everything is going to appeal to everybody. So that was the one for this month I think I'll do. There's a categories event that I might try next month, just to see how it works, or if it might be a little bit fun. And we'll see and evaluate if this works for me, and works within my stitch what I want kind of vibe. But for now, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying Bringo. So I'm happy that I gave those a try this year. I'll try something new. I'd never done any of the Facebook challenges, games, anything like that. So this has been a learning curve for me of how to do them, how to post, how to do all that kind of stuff. But each day I'm getting a bit more comfortable with it, which is good, right? We just try to keep learning new stuff. So that is about it. I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. You know, all those winter germs, everything's out there right now. So I hope you are healthy. Take care of yourself. We want to all be stitching together. And I hope you're getting some stitching time in, and some you time, because you matter and you are important. So take some time for yourself. Don't give everything to everybody and forget about yourself. Take care of yourself as well. You are important. Okay. So after that little kind of, I don't even know what the word is. Again, you know, it's so funny. People told me that, you know, the brain would forget words at times when you're doing it. And it is funny how it works like that. Kind of this time in my life. So anyway, I'm rambling. If you are here, thank you. That was really nice of you to stay to the end of my rambling. I do appreciate it. But let's get some stitching in this week. Let's take care of ourselves and have some fun. And I'm thinking about all of you if you need that little extra thought in your life for whatever you may need. I'm here for you. All right, until next time, happy stitching.